What is up? I believe we are live. I think we're live. I think we're good. Everything's looking good. Uh-huh. There we go. Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody doing? I hope you all are having a good day. We're hanging up, or we're hanging out here. Okay, I need to quit this real quick. Okay. I'm really excited to talk about Gifts the Sun Brings today and show you guys this logic session. I forgot, I was gonna see okay, I'm gonna ask you guys, what color should I use for my lights? I think I saw Robin say something, but I'm gonna go watch the live stream technically? Watch my own live stream? That's kind of weird. But let's go see these comments. Oh, purple? Okay, let's see purple. We'll rock with purple for now. Oh, that's not very purple, is it? How's this? It's kind of purple. You know what? This was something like that. Okay. Now, so I guess the good place to start with this song is how it came to be. And the thing is that this kind of all happened right when quarantine happened and everybody was just sitting inside doing nothing all day, every day for a bit. And after WGI had just been canceled and DCI had just been canceled and we were all in a post-funk sort of stage. And yeah, and I got hit up by my good friend Masora, who's edited a lot of videos for me, including my Waste of Time music video, as well as the I Think I'm Going Mad music video. She was the one behind the camera, helping me editing, doing all that jazz. She's awesome. Go check out her work if you haven't. Yeah, and she hit me up. She was like, hey, would you be down to write a song for this video montage that I'm making for like WGI? And she kind of described it like, whenever we're at WGI, at finals, we're in retreat, there's always like the Jumbotron shows kind of like a recap of like all the performances that happened throughout the weekend. And it shows like all the groups performing and stuff. And she wanted to basically make her own since we weren't gonna have that chance and date had been canceled this year. And I was like, of course, like I'll help out however I can, you know, like I'd love to. And she was like, yeah, okay, so I'm also trying to get this done in like 4 days. And I was like, oh, okay, for sure, sick. So she sent me a couple reference tracks. I forgot what all of them were. One of them was Moon River by Jacob Collier. And then a couple were some other Japanese artists that I wasn't familiar with, but it was all along the lines of like a lot of vocal arrangements and then like a singular instrument. One of them had like a guitar and a bunch of voices. Another one had like a piano or something. And I was like, okay, I think the vibe is gonna be like a piano and vocal arrangement type of song. And yeah, so that's kind of how like the idea first started to come around. I think the first day after she told me about it, I kind of sat around and I was like, I don't really know, like, I don't know, like, actually, let me get the camera on myself, whoops. There you go. So yeah, for like the first like day or so, I wasn't super sure what exactly I like to do, and I just kind of sat there for a while like, I'm kind of lost right now. And it wasn't until I listened to Gimme Love by Joji. Like I was just trying to listen to new music to get some inspiration for it. Oh wait. Oh yeah. Until yeah. Let's see. Oh wait. Is everybody something's happening weird with the audio and I don't know why. Let's see. I'm gonna see if I can figure this out real quick. I don't know why it's all being weird. Let me know if, no, it's all being weird right now. Okay, let's go back to here. Okay, I'm just gonna stick here because the other section is weird. But yeah, I was listening to Gimme Love by Joji and you hit the second half of the song and that kind of inspired me to make something that had that sort of feel. So yeah, that's just kind of how it all came about. So now let's start getting into this file and start talking about the song and like what makes the song. And I'm super excited. I'm gonna drink myself some body armor real quick. Also, once again, if anyone's just joining the live stream, hello. My name's Eligy, and I am here, breaking down my song, talking about a couple things, what kind of came about. But yeah, if you all aren't familiar with this song is called Gifts the Sun Brings. And I wrote it entirely based off of the feelings and emotions that go behind the marching activity. And I also tried to make it a bit more broad in general so it can expand, like in an idea sense, beyond the activity. But yeah, So, like I said, this entire song only consists of just piano and vocals, which makes it actually among one of my smaller songs in terms of like session sizes, because not a lot going on in the instrumental, but there is a lot happening in the vocals. So yeah, I'm really excited to break this down. So let's start with the intro. The beginning just starts with a piano chord, single note, drone, D. Yeah, just 4 notes on a D. Also, if anyone here isn't familiar with Logic Pro, this is a music editing software that I use to make all of my music, and it's basically like the same thing as GarageBand. Yeah, it's just like Big Boy GarageBand. And here, these are all like the little, these are all just like the files and sounds that you hear throughout the whole song. So each of these is like a vocal track or take. So here on the left, these are the tracks, and I've labeled them all to hopefully make it easier for you guys to read through. Also, it just helps me keep more organized. And then as we go across, these are just the different vocals. And I also have a lot of these in folders, so that way I can edit them in groups. And so in each group I'll have anywhere between like 2 vocals. So let's see, some down here, sometimes like 4. Yeah, a lot of these have 4. Yeah. So you get the gist. Oh, I didn't mean to solo that. So yeah, this is the piano instrument, and for the sound, if anyone's wondering, I just kind of use this Keyscape, which is a virtual plugin. And it's a virtual instrument made by Spectrasonics, and they make a lot of great, amazing sounds. So if I go play the keyboard, that's me playing. But yeah, I use this classical preset, and I didn't really do much to it. I just did like a little EQ, add a little bit of delay and reverb, the stereo delay here. This, and like the delay makes everything go wah, 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 kind of what you'd think a delay would do. And then reverb gives things space, and we love good space. And people love to use reverb, and the sounds of reverbs can make things either feel small and intimate, or they can make things feel grand and huge and just back and washed in the sound for like ever. So yeah, both of these are running on this piano, and I think I got similar reverbs and things going on all of the vocal tracks here. And yeah, and so what an EQ does too, so actually I'm gonna make a new EQ to show you guys. So this is an EQ, and basically all sounds have a spectrum of frequencies that, kind of come. Let me just play this for you. So you can see like the different frequencies as they pop up here. You can alter them. You can raise the volume of certain frequencies or diminish them in gain, or like it's basically the same thing as volume. But yeah, you can do it along the different frequencies. So you can kind of hear, yeah, there's different frequencies going on. Waves from the ocean. Yeah. So basically you can make things sound cleaner, not cleaner. You can carve out space and frequencies for other tracks to come in, and that's kind of how mixing works when you hit that stage of music production. But yeah, okay, so I'm going to talk about the actual song now. So For the intro, I decided to start off with like a pyramid scheme, sort of like I'll say a single word, which in this case is sun, and I'll basically build a chord by saying one, adding the next note on top of the chord, and then the next one on top. So that's what I did for the first 3 chords, and it follows right underneath the drone, which is happening in the piano. Let me zoom in. Yeah, so each note is kind of adding on, and underneath you have this low D hanging on. That one not just goes under. Oh wait, no, the next one goes under. And then for the last 3 suns that I do here, which are labeled pyramids 4, 5, and 6, these guys are just little. I just say sun and I pan them, which means I move them around in kind of like your ear space down here, so you hear them. Let me see if I can mess with this real quick. So yeah, I can put it all the way in your right ear, or I can put it all the way in the left ear. Except I think I'm editing the wrong track, so this would be what it sounds like. And then all the way in your left ear too. But you can also do everything in between. So yeah, so I had this at like 20 or something. This one's all the way in the left ear. This one's dead center. And these guys are just little kind of like shimmery sort of notes that allow us to transition into the verse. So this is more textural, more not exactly like a bass sort of foundation. These ones are like ornaments that happen on top. Sun, sun, sun. Yeah. Sun, sun, sun. And so all together, all of these notes here create this little, neat little, just kind of add-on effect that happens with the vocals. And yeah, so that's what makes the intro. So yeah, it's a cool little effect that I sometimes use, and I really like the effects of like, honestly, like personally, I really like hearing the sounds of like words almost being whispered into the sides of your ears. I don't know, it's like some ASMR type shit or something, but it's definitely, I think, a very cool and unique effect. Yeah, so let's see. We go here to the main vocal. This is the main vocal for the entire first verse. And yeah, there's a lot going on in the vocal chain.
Waves from the ocean crashing on my face, embraced and surrounded by those we love.
Wait, okay. So, yeah, so this is like the first verse, and I'm talking about waves in the ocean crashing on my face. This part, I didn't really, it's not super specific to like drum corps or like WGI or anything like that, but it's kind of like the feelings of summer and things that remind you of summer, like the beach, something peaceful, something fun, but something that can be kind of extended beyond the range. But it's just the feeling of summer that we all understand and know. And yeah, so with that, let me talk a little bit about what I did for my vocal chain. And what a vocal chain is, and this is for people who don't know music production at all, this is basically like things that I add to kind of mess around with my voice. And one of those things is like an EQ, like we talked about, to help fix some of the frequencies and some of the things to help clean up the way a vocal takes sounds. I also have a noise gate, and a noise gate basically, when I stop singing or something, if there's background noise at all, which I think there was because I was recording in my apartment, when there's no noise happening at all, it will basically silence or duck down the rest of the audio when there's nothing happening. And when there is something happening, it will open up, and it will basically open the noise gate and you'll be able to hear the vocals. And then I got an EQ. I have waves tune here, which is a slight auto tune. Yeah, no transition speed. Yeah, so it's not going super hard, but I mean, it's nice to just have your vocals supported by like a little bit of auto tune, and it's not like taboo at all for artists to use auto tune because literally everybody uses it. So yeah, this is like a slight auto tune. I have it tuned to D major because the song is in D major. That's where we're at. And then I have this thing called a de-esser. And what a de-esser does is it takes sounds and syllables, things, or it takes like things that have like harsh frequencies to them, like S's, like things that a mic will go like and especially in your ear, like things that'll pierce right through, and it'll take those frequencies and duck them down a lot. So it's super useful to use on a lot of your vocal takes. And then I have this thing called the Ozone Imager. This is one of my favorite plugins ever, made by Isotope. And all it really does is it just kind of takes, because when you record any vocal or anything, it usually records it into mono, which means that it's just going straight dead in the center of your headphones, and you don't really hear like a stereo effect going on at all. This will take that and open it up and make it wider, and open the track into the stereo field. So that's what this plugin does. So let me see if I can make it. Okay, this is what it sounds without it.
Waves from the ocean
When I put it on,
crashing on my face.
you can definitely hear a lot of the lower frequencies open up a little bit.
Embraced and surrounded by those we love.
If I wanted to, I can open this a lot.
No turning back time, so soak it all right in, letting the time.
But yeah, so that's that. And then I have this plugin here called Melodyne. Melodyne's kind of an overpowered plugin, but I got shown this by my boy Zach Langstaff, who's watching the live stream. So what's up? But yeah, what Melodyne is it basically analyzes your entire vocal track and your performance of it, puts it in like a grid of notes for you to see, and you can basically edit those notes. And it's kind of weird, but it's like allows you to like micromanagely fix any mistakes or imperfections that are in your take. Sorry, there's like a fly going around in here. I'm like, bruh, get out of here. And then lastly in this chain, I have Nectar 3. And this is kind of a plugin that I use a lot. And I use it a lot for this vocal assistant here. And I can talk about that if I use it, but I actually didn't use it here. I think I just used this for the de-esser and also for a slight, like another EQ. And sometimes it's nice because the way that we use EQs, and you can like stack EQs, and sometimes it's nice to have some EQs that take away some of the bad frequencies and have a separate one to raise some of the other frequencies that you want to be raising. So yeah, enough music production talk, that's that. More about the song. Yeah, so for a while you just kind of have this main vocal take of mine. I'll let it play out.
Waves from the ocean crashing on my face, embraced and surrounded by those we love.
Yeah.
No turn,
And then here I add in a singular vocal background, which is happening
no
just sort of for
turning back time. We'll soak it all right in.
yeah.
Soak it all right in.
And all this is just happening over top of the piano going underneath.
Time to soak it all right in.
Yeah, and another thing to note is that in Logic, there's like a tempo setting, and like you can play to like a met if you want. If you just want to like record to a met, make sure everything's in time to do that. When I recorded this song, I didn't use a met at all. I just kind of hit record, and then I just played the piano part as I heard it in my head, and then I recorded all the vocals on top of that. And so yeah, none of this song is like really locked into a grid, and also it allows for the tempo to fluctuate a lot, and it really, for this song, I like it because it really felt like the song kind of breathes and it builds momentum, especially as we get into like further along in the song. And yeah, so let's see.
letting the tides roll.
Now to talk about the breath. This is a neat little effect that I like to do a lot in a lot of my songs, and I just kind of like to. I'll do something kind of like a breath. I'll go like, and just like exhale, and then I'll run it underneath what's here like a delay, and I'll also put a fat reverb on it, and that basically kind of almost reminds me of like wind, and it kind of gives you like the effect of like wind blowing, or or even like a wave rolling, or you know, so it kind of gives that effect. So that's kind of, and it makes for like a very neat transitional effect too. Oh, that's the wrong track. There we go. There we go. I want to show you guys this breath. Yeah, I think I did that one like, and just breathed out like that. So that's what's going on right there.
Letting the tides
And I thought it was very appropriate to let that kind of be the sound of the tides that's going on in the lyrics, so that you can, like you can hear it as you're imagining what the lyrics are saying.
roll day by day.
Sustained vocal. And for the sustained vocal here, or sustained vox, I recorded the same thing twice, the same part twice, and I do this a lot where I'll record like one part more than once. I'll do it multiple times, sometimes two, like, or sometimes twice. What am I saying? Sometimes thrice, or sometimes four times, which is definitely what I use for like bigger sounds, but not exactly here. This is something that's chiller, and so I'll record it twice, and what I'll do is I'll pan one to the right so that you hear it more in your right ear, and then I'll pan one to the left so you hear it more in your left ear. And so this track alone sounds like this.
Day by day.
And so yeah, it's the same part, but I recorded it twice, so each is like its own take. And also you just get this effect that's happening, you know, you just kind of hear it in both ears, and it gives you like a nice sort of, it's like a hug, it's like a musical hug, it's giving you a hug, but it also allows space for your center vocal to be straight in the center while these other backgrounds are here. And so you kind of want to make sure that you like keep space, or you make space for other things to happen. And when I hit bigger things, I usually like to have things all over the place, and so the whole like sphere of like listening is being surrounded, and I love that like feeling and that sound. So yeah, let's see. So yeah, that's kind of the first verse. Let me play it back for you, so you can hear it all.
From the ocean, crashing on my face, embraced and surrounded by those we love. No turning back time, so soak it all right in, letting the tides roll day by day.
Yeah, and I let that hold off until I let that last little seventh I play in the piano kind of hit. So it goes day by day, ding, and then those kind of lock in together, and that's the transition. So that's the first part of the first verse, and so far this is pretty simple in terms of like the way that I usually write music, and there's like really not a lot happening here, but I could talk about it forever.
I can hear the laughter.
So next, we have the pre-chorus. I can hear the laughter and the photographs, and a lot of these are just, and these are more things that I like to kind of associate with the marching activity whenever I like look back on like Snapchat videos from like whatever season, or I'll like look at pictures of just my section I being goofballs or something, and you like you have the memories like fresh there, as if you were just letting it happen again while you're either watching the video or just like looking at the photograph, you know. So yeah, these are all just like things that I miss a lot.
I can hear the laughter in the photograph.
Ooh, okay, so here we have what I labeled as vocal textures, and here we have 4 tracks. So this is what's going on here. Yeah, and I got my voice is a little raspy in that, but it's kind of nice. It has its own little twang, and so yeah, good thing I labeled this for myself. Here I have what are the oohs and what starts that. And it's just like ooh wah oohs, things like that. This I decided to support the word laughter because I thought it was a nice accent point that you could use some like lifting. So this with the main vocal.
Laughter. You can hear the laughter in the photograph.
And then right after that, it decides to join the oohs, and those guys move in harmony. So all these are moving in harmony together.
Laughter in the photograph.
Yeah, so that's what's happening in this folder here. Let's see. The upper mids. I don't really remember what what these are.
In the photograph.
Ooh, yeah. Excuse me. I'm drinking a Body Armor. I'm not sponsored by Body Armor, but I wish. If Body Armor could sponsor me, that'd be pretty sick. But, okay. Now to talk about these upper mids. Let's see. What is this part?
Photograph.
Yeah, so I decided to kind of help. Just as I did with laughter, I decided to do a similar thing with photograph. In the photograph. And then this one has like a little rundown, which I like a lot.
Photograph.
So that's kind of creating a lot of like motion that's happening melodically, and just different moments are just kind of going, ooh. I'm doing a lot of things with my hands right now, just ooh. Yeah.
In the photograph.
Yeah, so let me play this section with just the vocals so you guys can hear that by itself.
Day by day.
Oh, no. Let's see.
I can hear the laughter in the photograph. The end of the weekdays.
So yeah, that's what that sounds like. And then for the next section, I thought it'd be cool to kind of let the end of the weekdays have its own set of harmonies that are constantly going with it.
The end of the weekdays we spent together with a week on.
And yeah, so the way I kind of view songwriting, whenever I'm writing songs, I always like to see them as journeys and things that have rises and falls, things that have moments of tension, moments of release. But overall, I want things to feel like they're always moving forward. And so you kind of see that as we're getting further throughout the verse, there's more things being added, more layers happening, and just kind of stacking on top of each other as we get further along. And that kind of slowly creates this sonic build-up that you don't really you're not super conscious of it, but you can definitely like feel it happening. Like there's moments where it's like, oh, we're definitely gonna go somewhere and something's going to happen soon. What exactly, like I don't know yet, but yeah, because you know, when we first start the song, the first verse, it's just the vocal and the piano. Then we add one singular harmony, and then we end up adding 2 harmonies. And then here we are, we're starting to hit a couple layers, like a few tracks of layers. And as we get further, you'll see that I like to add more things and watch them be more active too. Like a lot of these, the parts that I wrote for myself, yeah, it'll just become more active as we get through. And also like my own writing process, like I don't exactly sit down and write out all of these parts on like paper or something, or like plan it all out beforehand. I just kind of like write it as I go, and if I have an idea immediately, I'll just record it. And like, here's the thing, because like even if you have like something that is like a bad idea, it's better to just like not think about it. Like whatever is coming out of your mind, if you're in like that creative flow state and things are just spewing out, I say let them spew out. So that's kind of the way I work. I just let all of my ideas go, and if I need to delete things, that's way easier to do than trying to be like, well, what can I add at all? You know, it's better to have too much than too little. You know, but there's always a fine boundary of both, and you can you can mold something out of a lot, but you can't. It's much harder to build something from nothing. You know, so yeah, that's my little bit of advice for creative, or just like creative anything, doing anything creative. So yeah, now we hit this
We
next section.
gone separate paths.
And now we start adding in more layers here. Let's see.
Feel the love in your heart and feel it in your
So here I
We gone
decided,
separate.
actually, let me unsolo some of these. So I decided on the week on Separate Paths, I wanted to echo that, and that would kind of provide a neat little transition. So then when the next notes that I sing, and like the falsettos and harmonies, kind of has some more power, because there's something that makes the time a bit looser and more articulate, then you get something that's more sustained. So
Separate paths. Feel the love
yeah,
in
I recorded that twice. And then we have this ooh here. Then I have extra oohs. Everyone loves a little extra oohs. And look at that, I recorded 4 tracks of different harmonies here.
Feel the love in your heart and feel it in your soul. This feeling.
Yeah, so let's see. What is this part?
Feel the love in your heart.
Yeah, and I really like switching up the sounds, because you know, oohs are more, they can sometimes be more soothing. Yeah, so like I feel like oohs kind of have a little bit of tension to them, because of like, you know, the shape that your mouth has to make, like ooh, like you do have to like close down a bit more, and the sound becomes more narrow, more focused. When you sing things with ah is more like, I'd say a bit more relaxed and more natural, I guess, because it's something that you can do if your mouth's just open, like ah. Versus narrowing the sound down, it kind of opens it up. So it's usually nice to kind of start things with like oohs, and then let ahs be a moment of release. You know, it's like ooh ooh ah ah. Like ahs is, you know, you guys get what I'm saying. That's what's going on. So we have that, and then I have this middle background, and this one's just by itself, so just a solo track.
Feel the love in
Oh wait, what? Oh, I said feel the love in your. Okay.
Feel the love in your heart and feel it in your soul.
So that's actually a harmony. That's not an ooh. I think I was thinking of these vocal these upper mids here that kept going. That's what I was thinking of.
Feel the love in
Or not. You know what? Maybe I don't know my own track at all. You know. Maybe I should just. Yeah. This is that.
Feel the love in your heart.
And that's by itself. And oh, look at that. I accidentally left in the sound of me clicking my keyboard to stop the recording. Whoops.
Feel the love in your heart.
Yeah, I usually edit all of those out, but I guess I left those in. You know, it's a little bit of extra texture, perhaps. Let's see.
Love in your heart. And feel it.
And that's basically all the supporting harmonies to the main vocal. Let's see, and I really like this here. Yeah, I like that part a lot. It was just something that kind of came in the spur of the moment, and kind of gives the vocals a little bit of extra spice, and it's kind of like a little bit of finesse, I'd say. This is like a finessey section. Yeah, so let's see. I'm trying to close that file. I'm gonna open all these up. Okay, wait, hold up. Okay, there you go. So this is what all these harmonies sound like.
Separate paths. Feel the love in your heart. Feel it in your soul. This.
And yeah, so that definitely allows there's definitely some motion happening melodically. And then right after that, these harmonies here are like some of my favorite, but not my favorite of the song. And I'll show you guys what my favorite part of the song is when we get there. But these are just, it's just a falsetto, and then something I kind of sang, I call it stank falsetto, and I think it's because I sang it all with like a stank face. I was like, something a little more gospel.
This feeling we all have it, inescapable.
Yeah, so that's what that is. And then this feeling we all have is something in an echo. And that's all going on underneath the main vocal here. Also kind of singing it.
Feeling we all have it. This feeling we all have is.
So yeah, whenever I like listen to this part, it's just always like I imagine it being like a bit stankier.
This feeling we all have is inescapable. Yeah.
So that's that. Yeah, I definitely. I'm like ooh. And also because like it's not a super big like harmony part either. Like there's not a lot of like different harmonies. I think I just added something like an octave above, and that gave it some like wide power, like vertically, you know. And that on top of like the way you sing it, and also like this song kind of goes through like this soft sort of like, I don't know. It's definitely like a soft vibe, but then there's also these like moments of like gospelness that I was really trying to like emulate and create. Let's see. I'm gonna talk about these harmonies now because I really like this harmony here.
Escapable. Yeah. In times like these.
So yeah, that's kind of like that's like the. Let's see. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. And then after that, so we get this thing that kind of goes like that, and then right after that, it's just another part that goes down like that. Sorry, I probably look like a fool right now. Just like. But yeah, I was like, ooh, this is something that's pretty cool, you know? I was like, that's a little. It was something that I just thought of and then just put out, and I was like, okay, that's actually really sick. But yeah, it's definitely it's almost a sense of conjuring motion, but it almost, I guess it's more of like a cascade of harmony that's kind of like falling and falling and falling on top of each other.
Times like these, my mind starts to wander.
One more.
My mind starts to wander.
So yeah, that's pretty much all of the first verse, and this is like the longest section of the song, as you can see, because here's the first chorus, here's the second verse, definitely like half as long as that, and then the last chorus, which ooh, and then you know, quick outro. But real quickly, so we can recap, I'm gonna play you guys all the harmonies because I just think it's super cool to like hear them all, and just by themselves. And also, hopefully this, like, I'll stop talking.
We'll soak it all right in.
The breath.
Day by day. Laughter, photograph. End of the weekdays we spent together. Separate paths. Feel the love in your heart. Feel it in your soul. This feeling we all have it. Inescapable. Times like these, my mind starts.
So yeah, that's everything that goes on underneath just the stock piano and then the main vocal. But yeah, hopefully you guys can hear how exactly, like, you kind of start off with, like, almost no harmonies at all, one track, and you feel it build over time, and you can feel it become more active. And instead of the parts being more sparse, more legato, I'm saying more words, more syllables, backing up more, filling in some of the voids that the main vocal doesn't fill. So yeah, that's kind of how I like approaching a lot of my vocal arrangements in my music. Also because you guys will come to know that I'm doing a lot of these techniques a lot in my upcoming stuff and things that you guys have yet to hear. So these are all things to, I guess, listen for. So now it's time to start talking about the chorus. Yeah, and so the idea from the chorus, like the melody, the when will the days that we've come to love, like that all kind of, it started with actually another song of mine that I had written, but you guys have not heard it yet, and I do plan on putting it out, so I can't show you guys the song yet, but it kind of comes from another song that has a very similar melody, and I was like, oh, this kind of fits, and I was like, why don't I just kind of let it be like a motif, you know, something that kind of comes back and back. So yeah, that's where the melody comes from. So let's look at the melody. And these sections for the chorus, I wanted them to be wider than the verse. So the melody is always triple tracked. And so I have one going in the center, and then I have one going your right ear, one going your left ear. So that should sound like this.
When will the days that we've come to love come back to us?
And then I recorded it again in its own, or like the second half here, so that way I didn't kind of rush myself to breathe and I could let them kind of go over each other, like transition wise.
Love, come back to us, and the memories come budding like flowers in spring, and it's hard to remember the good times, but think these days are gifts the sun brings.
So peaceful. Yeah. So that's the melody, just by itself in both tracks. And I wanted both of the choruses you'll hear in this one and the next one. I kind of wanted them to have a tiny bit more of an auto-tune feel, something a little bit more power chordy, I guess, a little more monotone, not as super like vibrato, like when will the days, like that stuff, but more just straight edge. And so yeah, that's kind of how I did that. Let's see. In the falsetto, what did I do? I thought I just doubled it. Oh, so I did different things here. So this is going to be just the falsetto track.
Will the days that we've come to love come back to us?
Yeah, so there's just different moments where I wanted it to stay suspended, other moments that I want to kind of punch more. So that's come back to us, and especially in the second chorus too, I wanted that moment to like punch you. This one's not as punchy, but yeah. Also, I do not condone violence, just audio punching you violence. Wait, okay. Sorry, I'm like, wait, what am I gonna do right now? Let's look at these chorus harmonies. Yeah, we got 4 tracks in here, and these are doing their own thing.
When will the days that we've come to love come back to us?
Yeah, there's like come back to us. I wanted some of that little chromatic motion in there that I thought would be just slightly tasty, from like a vocal writing standpoint. And so yeah, those are the harmonies that kind of support the melody in this sense, and so all together we get.
When will the days that we've come to love come back to us?
And with the melody, you get what the vocals sound like. So
When will the days that we've come to love come back to us? And
this
the
unit by itself,
memories come
then
budding like flowers in spring.
same thing.
And it's hard to remember the good times, but think.
Yeah, and I decided to kind of make the second time falsettos, make those be a bit louder, or not louder, higher.
When will the
That compared to,
and it's hard
so the parts are just a little different.
remember.
Something that feels like it's rising and escalating, not only in pitch and frequencies, but in motion, you know, keeping things constantly feeling like you're going forward. I never like the feeling of going backwards. I just always want to feel like you're going somewhere and that you're never like taking steps backwards, you know.
These days are gifts the sun brings.
Yeah, and that's the first chorus. That's it. And like for those last gifts the sun brings, like that harmony there, I wanted to, I don't know, I wanted something that would kind of accentuate that gospel chord change that's going on, like what is it? It's like the 1-4-1. This kind of guy. It's a very typical gospel cadence that kind of happens a lot, but I wanted to accentuate that in the vocals. So now, time for the second verse. Whee! This is where a lot of these vocal textures are actually a lot more active and way more interesting. And also just because I decided to go for more, like very much more of a gospel feel in the main vocal. So let me mute these oohs so we could just listen to the main vocal by itself.
Bottled up emotions in a silicone vase. Seeing the lights in your eyes is now where you feel most safe. And when the world is liberated, make sure you give your friends the love. And you feel the sun and then wrap their arms around you in a warm embrace.
And we all know how that goes. Yeah, so let's see. Bottle up emotions in a silicone vase. Seeing the lights in their eyes is where you feel most safe. It's something having to do with the feelings of performing and the types of emotions that you kind of have to invest in yourself whenever you do a show. Like all the hype you feel. Sometimes, depending on the show, like I've had moments where I've wanted to cry, moments, but it's just like at the end of the day, you gotta keep it together. You gotta keep performing. You gotta keep playing those drums. You know, doing what you do. But it's something that feels so strangely good, yet so emotional, which is interesting. But that's kind of what the lyrics reflect in a lot of this verse. And then also as well, it's just like a lot of this song is also just about making sure that your friends and the families that you've made in these groups are the most important part of your experience, you know, and that those are what you cherish most importantly, are the people and like the connections that you make, because that's what's like valuable. They're real people, you know, and a lot of the times it's just real families for people, you know. So yeah, that's what the lyrics really represent. Let's look at some of these background vocals now. So we got some nice little oohs.
Bottled up emotions in a silicone vase. Seeing the lights in your eyes is now where you feel.
So yeah, this is all just kind of going on the whole
Where you feel most safe. And when the world is liberated, make sure you give your.
yeah. That's pretty high. Yeah, that's pretty high for me. But I did it. But yeah, you can hear again how I kind of use the differences between oohs and ahs, and like the ahs are just such a nice moment of like release, and it's just like wow, and then you go back into more oohs. So let's see, and then I think a lot of these moments are more active types of harmonies.
In a silicone vase.
Yeah, just a little echo, something to repeat what I said right before.
On
Then again here.
most safe. And when the
Yeah, so that's all that part is. Let's see, these mid harmonies. What did I do here?
where you feel most safe.
Because I wanted something that was kind of similar to the timbre of the echo, and then the echo would come in on the other side. So this mid harmony is panned 30 to the right, as you can see down here. So I don't know why I'm pointing at the screen thinking you guys can see that. But, and then the verse 2 echoes, this is pointed at 30 degrees to the left. So then you get this feeling of right and then left.
Where you feel most safe. And when
So yeah, I like playing around with that a lot and making you kind of be like, whoa, here, there, everywhere, you know, kind of deal. Yeah, so that's really what's going on for most of that. Sorry, I'm like soloing things and unsoloing. Now, for this section, okay, so this is actually, this is low-key my favorite part of the song, just because of this little run thing that I do, and I think it's so cool, but just like, it's not a huge deal or anything, but it's just like so tasteful, I guess. Okay, so I'll play it with this.
and when the world is liberated, make sure you give your
It's just like, there's so much motion happening until you hit that impact that happens with, make sure you give your fans love, but an octave up. And also because it just starts by going, and when the world is liberated. And it goes like, whoa. It feels like a roller coaster almost. So I'm going to play this by itself.
when the world is liberated.
It's just one of those like, whoa. That's pretty cool there. Let's see. So low. Now I'm going to play this little section here by itself.
Where you feel most safe. And when the world is liberated, make sure you give your friends the love.
And then here, next, and then make sure you give your friends the love. Then I decided to do the same type of thing where you have a left going into the right, and you kind of, it's just another.
And you feel.
And yeah, so let's solo these. Go back. Okay. Yeah, and I don't do this super often, but sometimes I use the plugin that I talked about earlier, Nectar 3. They have a very neat harmony setting, and this allows me to basically artificially create harmonies. So I can add a third, as you can see here. Like I added a third, one here on the left, one on the right, and then I add a fifth above, and then an octave up. And so I added that twice on both sides, kind of tried my best to make it symmetrical, even though it's, it's its own deal. But yeah, the sound of like artificial harmony it's a unique sound, and sometimes I think it's really nice when used right. I think this is the only time in the song where I really artificially created harmonies, because the rest of them I usually like to record my own, but sometimes when I wanted to have a little bit more of that technical sound, that's what you get here. Yeah. And so I think I recorded that. The love. And yeah. So that's what that is. And then right after you get that, then you get that little power, tension, release, sort of biznatch. I don't know why I'm saying that, but that's what
You feel the sun and wrap their arms around you.
And now for what I decided to use to create the last build for what I wanted to lead into the last chorus, which is going to be big and powerful because I knew that going in. I decided to use, it's labeled here as Beatles bottom, mid, top, but it's kind of like a Beatles pyramid stack. You know how I talked about the pyramid stack that I did at the beginning? But the Beatles kind of do this thing a lot where they kind of use, like they'll just like sing, one of them will sing a note, another one will sing a note on top, and then, kind of do like a three-way harmony, sort of classic guy. Yeah, so you see how like each note kind of adds on, and then I decided to record each of those parts twice. So that way, by the end, I mean, you're hearing 6 of my voice in your ears just from the pyramid itself, and then you have all the oohs going on that decide to be ahs, and then the main vocal itself. And I think, okay, yeah, because I kind of wanted to show you guys what I mean by like the Beatles like using this. I have it pulled up on YouTube. Okay, let's see. Hi, live stream. Let's see. Yeah, so this is Twist and Shout, one of their songs. You see, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Like that's what I mean. Also, hello again, live stream. Okay, we're back in Logic. No more YouTube. But just so you guys have some context of what I'm talking about, like the Beatles are one of my biggest influences for all of music, period. And I just love their songwriting, their styles, and like their techniques for making music in the '60s. Pretty controversial and also very revolutionary too. But yeah, so that's what I decided to use here. And yeah. So let me play you guys the whole second verse. And also, like, we're starting to pick up a little bit of momentum and speed because that's how I played it in the piano. Just so you guys know, I think the second verse definitely has quite a bit faster of a tempo than the first verse too, which also is what makes it, I guess, shorter. But yeah, okay, I'm gonna play. Okay, let's just play just the harmonies, because I mean everyone knows what the melodies sound like, always. Oh, I thought that would highlight all of them. I guess it didn't. Let's do that. Okay.
In a silicone vase, where you feel most safe, when the world is liberated.
Oh, and then my sibilants. Yeah, so sibilants is just the sound of, I mean, it's just like an S sound. It's kind of when I was talking about the de-esser earlier and breaking that down. Sibilants is what that is taking away. It's those harsh syllables. I decided to record myself just going like so I can support the main vocal, because it almost sounds like I don't say like I don't make a sound at the end of embrace.
Embrace.
Yeah, it's like a little delayed, and these chorus vocals definitely overpowered by the time I hit that. So I needed something a little earlier, so that way you knew I was saying embrace instead of saying embrace. Yeah, so you get, and also, dang, I really wish I cut off these computer clicks, but I guess I did not. So that's the song. So that's everything that goes on in the second verse, and like still there's not a lot happening musically. It's just all in like the vocals, the textures, keeping it open, and building the tension as we go along. And now for my favorite part of the song, well, no, my favorite part of the song was technically those runs because it's tasteful. Or I guess that's my favorite part. I guess, I don't know, layer? My favorite thing that I recorded for the song. But this is my favorite part of the song overall, like section, I guess. So the second chorus. So now we're here. I re-record, like I didn't copy paste anything for really any of this song except for the end. But yeah, I re-recorded all these vocals and went for like a way more punchier, aggressive sound with the vocals. So let me just play you the way this chorus melody sounds. Oh, there you go.
When will the days that we've come to love come back to us, and the memories come budding like flowers in spring?
Yeah, so that can
Will the days that
also, now that I do this back and forth, you can hear how much we've sped up since the first chorus. The first chorus feels way slower when you compare it to like the second chorus. Like if I play Like, let me show you guys. Okay, so this is how the second
When will the days that we've come to love?
first
Will
verse.
the days that we've come to love come back to?
First chorus definitely kind of chugs along, and it's way more like but the second chorus is it's go time.
When will the days?
And also a lot of these I guess these layers are way more active. So let me open up all these folders so you can see. This is everything that I recorded for, well, I guess I might as well open up the melodies too. So this is how many tracks and I guess like things that I sang. Like this is how many of those things go into just what you hear in this whole chorus. And let's see, I have 44 regions selected. And a region is just one of these little tracks and little thingamajiggies. I don't know how to describe it. But yeah, so we got the melody. We all know the melody. Let's see how I change the harmony up this time.
When will the days that we've come to love come back to us? And
Yeah, another one of those chromatic motions, you know.
to love come back to us.
Yeah, that's something that I think I also did in the first chorus. Let's see. Oh, this is where the power kind of comes in.
When will the days that we've come to love come back to us?
And honestly, it was this moment, and this is pretty high for me. That's why it sounds, I guess, a little uncomfortable for me. It's pretty high in my chest voice. And basically things that I sang as falsetto, in the first chorus, I sang in my chest voice, which is like, and for those who don't know what a falsetto is like your high register. It's when you sing things like, like if you're going into like, and your chest voice is like your normal voice, which goes all the way up, like that stuff. But falsetto is like a different tone, and usually what guys use if they're trying to impersonate like female voices. But yeah, it's definitely another tier of vocals. So yeah, but this part here, this is where I think a lot of the real power kind of comes from, is this section.
Come back to us.
Yeah, those two tracks there, I think when you hear it in context and you hear that part specifically, that's kind of what gives it like one of the biggest punches of like, dang, oh, we've arrived somewhere, you know? So let me play it just so you hear it in context.
When will the days that we've come to love come back to us?
And then, so yeah, you kind of hear out that kind of adds power from the high end, and you hear like a lot of come back to us, but way more powerful. I decided to do something that I never did in the first chorus. Like all these things here in this lower part of the, what am I saying, of the file, I definitely didn't record any of those here in the first chorus. So these are all new tracks and new parts. So I decided to basically add this thing in like a very low octave, and this is like my low voice. This is like that stuff. And I decided to use that to the advantage to kind of create a power chord that fills up not only the top end, but also the bottom end. So this is something that kind of gives it a lower punch. So I recorded this.
Come back to us.
Yeah. So yeah, when you hear that in context with this, let's see, yeah, both of those.
Come back to us.
So that kind of fills up the high end, the top end, and then all the other melodies in between, like the main melody and the harmonies, that kind of fills up the in-between section.
To love, come back to us.
Yeah, and then on top of that, we got extra falsettos up here, which are just more things in my high voice, which sounds like this.
When will the days
Yeah, it's just repeating those
we've
melodies.
come to love come back to us?
Yeah, so something that, yeah, okay, so that's just doing the same thing as this, so you guys can hear it.
When will the days that we've come to love come back to us?
Yeah, and like I talked about in the first verse, like when we hit this feeling we all have is like that section when you have like the main melody and also an octave above, it definitely like gives you like a wide sort of powerful setting. And so I use that to my advantage here to kind of let this be more powerful. And you kind of hear this broad spectrum that's like this entire section. Like you hear the main melody, but then you also hear these harmonies that are filling up the entire vocal range from the low end to the high end. And so that's really what's giving you this entire wall of sound that creates this chorus. So yeah, that kind of brings us to the next part of the second chorus. Let's see.
The back to us, and the memories come budding like flowers in spring.
Yeah.
Budding like flowers in spring.
Yeah, so this is this part.
The memories come budding like flowers in spring.
And then you have this section here. Let's see.
Budding like flowers in spring.
And then we have extra falsettos again here. I don't know what exactly it's doubling.
Budding like flowers in spring.
Ah, so that's what it's doing. It's kind of doing its own thing. And then I added like a little spring, like that thing.
Budding like flowers in spring.
Yeah, and I recorded over again so that way the transition's a little bit more seamless as you get to the next section. But yeah, so that's kind of what makes up this section for at least the first half of this. Let's see, chorus melody. I'm gonna break this down a little bit because we all know what the chorus melody sounds like. Let's go here, solo. So this is what it sounds like so far.
When will the days that we've come to love come back to us, and the memories come budding like flowers in spring?
And then for this part, where in the chords, I decided to do something that I hadn't done for the rest of the song because I knew I wanted to save it. Was I went to the harmonic, or what am I saying? It's like a harmonic equivalent. I think that's what it's called. Where basically, in the key, I'm playing the sixth chord, which is a D. Well, we're in D major. Oh, sorry, I don't have the piano turned on. Okay, here we go. So you have D major. You know, you have chords throughout this whole. You have all 7 or 8 of those chords that kind of make up the D major scale. But in this case, I decided to use the 6, which is B minor, which shares 2 of the same notes, as D major, which is the root, which has an A instead of. So when you use that instead, it gives you a darker quality, but it's a very similar quality to what's known as the tonic or the 1 chord. So that's a little bit of music theory knowledge for all you out there. Yeah, so I decided to use that here to kind of create just a completely different tone and color of how this is going to keep continuing on. So, and that also really allows the vocals to just remain as powerful as they are as we keep going. So let's hear the piano so you guys know what the chords sound like. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. So then it's lower, it's darker. Descending. And then minor chord. And that's and that chord progression goes from like the 4, which would usually what am I saying? Sorry if that's loud. That goes up to C. But I decided to instead go 4 minor 4, which I do a lot in my music. And then I go back to one. So instead of going, yeah, you get that sound. So yeah, I'm forgetting what that cadence is called, but whatever. So yeah, that's kind of how I phrase the chord structure for the second chorus. So now we get into here, where we get these melodies and yummy harmonies and things like that. Let's see.
And it's hard to remember the good times, but think.
And a lot of these were just kind of impromptu, like, I'm just going to sing this part that's different than this other part. And then they ended up kind of going in contra motion, and a lot of these have these moments of just like weaving in between each other. And I really like this moment because it has because it really, what am I saying? Because it has a lot of motion, and it's almost like a roller coaster melodically.
And it's hard to remember.
So this part's just going hard in my chest voice, but this here, these two, this is what's moving around a lot.
And it's hard to remember the good times, but think.
Yeah. And then these days are
These days are gifts.
all that stuff. So that's what that is. Let's see. Down here, lower power. I didn't do anything lower power there. I'm surprised. Extra mids.
And it's hard to remember the good times, but think.
Yeah, so with that, I wanted something that would feel like we're escalating, we're climbing, we're going somewhere. But what I thought was really cool is that part with this part, there's a moment where since the other one's going down and this one's coming up, there's a moment where they cross and then they surpass each other.
And it's hard to remember the good times, but think.
See, you know what I'm talking about now. You hear that? Let me play one more time for you.
And it's hard to remember the good times, but think.
Yeah. So that's what that is. Yeah, I keep saying that a lot, don't I? Let's see. Then we got one more section here.
And it's hard to remember.
Same thing, same spiel.
And it's hard to remember the good times, but think.
Yeah, there you go. But think. I forget what chord tone that is when we hit that. But let me play you all the harmonies together. So let's see. Nope, that's not it. Bam. So this is what all of it sounds like here.
And it's hard to remember the good times, but think.
Yeah, and then for this last section, since this is also aggressive, I wanted the last section to be, or the last moments, I guess, of the chorus to be more legato, and then we hit that last power chord.
These days are gifts.
And I forget, because it's a minor chord, I think it's like a G minor 6 chord, I think. But it's just something to give a last little like, ooh, okay, there we go. Something that you didn't exactly see coming because you've been going with such a standard pop sort of 1-4-5-1 sort of progression. And so, with that, I'm going to play you guys all of the harmonies that make up the second chorus, and then I'll play it with the melody so you guys can hear how it all sounds together.
When will the days that we've come to love come back to us? And the memories come budding like flowers in spring. And it's hard to remember the good times, but think these days are gifts.
Yeah, so there's just a lot of power, and there's a lot of and I think a lot of the reason what makes that so powerful really comes from these falsettos and hearing that higher, like all those high notes just coming in, and you just hear this full spectrum of notes that really creates all these chords, and they're just like the chords are moving around in motion with all the different parts that I'm singing. And so when you add in the melody, that really fills in the middle section and kind of completes what you've been hearing this whole time.
When will the days that we've come to love come back to us, and the memories come budding like flowers in spring? And it's hard to remember the good times, but think these days are gifts the sun brings.
So yeah, that's the second chorus. There's a lot going on in there, and I appreciate you guys for sticking around, if you're sticking around still and hanging out. Yeah, there's not a lot left of the song. There's just this last little outro, and it's just one vocal part. And yeah, and that's what is called the heaven motif, and you don't know what the heaven motif is yet, but yeah, because it's something from another one of my songs that you guys will hear in the future, because there's this, I'm just gonna spoil this, but this song is gonna come out on an album of mine that I'm currently working on. You're hearing it first. But yeah, so this is gonna be playing a role in the grand scheme of things on one of my projects, and there's a lot of motifs going around, so that's something that you're gonna hear again. And that kind of goes on as you have this last little descending outro in the piano. Wait, let me fix that. There you go. And then, I think I just copied all of these, and I put them here at the end for the last chord, and I used them as, like, I made a singular chord, so I kind of put them all together, like, so they all start at the same time. And then, if I'm correct, yeah, so I just kind of copied the same pace of these and put them back here. So it ends the same way it starts. It's one of those things. So it kind of all loops around and comes full circle again. So then in the end, you just get D. Except I don't know why I just pooped out. Yeah. So I think that's all the files. I've talked about every single little part, every single little track, showing you guys all this. Let's see. Yeah, that's all that. And so I guess with that, I don't have much else to talk about, other than I'm really excited to hopefully break down some of my other projects and songs that are coming up, and maybe go back into some old ones from the EP. Let me know what you guys want to see get broken down, I guess, and what songs you guys want to see all the tracks for, what songs you guys want to see how I did certain things, what effects I use, because this song is pretty simple and it was a very good song to do for a first live stream, but I'm really excited to kind of move forward with this and hopefully turn this into a bit more of a thing. So yeah, and yeah, if you guys haven't already, I'd really appreciate it if you guys took the time to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also just keep sharing the music, keep sharing, the love for music and what we do here. And so with that, I don't really think I have much else to talk about, unless you guys have something to talk about, but yeah. I hope you guys all have a blessed night. I'm sorry this took only about like an hour, a little under an hour and a half, an hour 20, which isn't bad. It's not bad. But yeah, let me know what you guys, and like let me know in the comments what you guys want to see broken down next. And I will see you guys in the future, and I am definitely working on a lot of stuff back here, and I'm really excited to share it with you all hopefully soon. Just have a great night, and I will see you all when I see you all. Take care, guys. Let's see. And stream. There you go.